one active player, maybe two.
Well, that's silly. That's really silly. Okay, we're live. We're live on the BenBoh podcast. It is what day is it? It's
the 1st of June.
Thursday, and it's the 2nd of June. And it's been a little bit since I released a podcast. I kind of got away from it a little bit. The inconsistency. I kind of I guess got in my head a little bit about it. I didn't exactly have guests lined up. I didn't necessarily know whether I wanted to continue to put money into the podcast, because obviously I'm a music artist and a lot of my money right now that I have, other than, to pay bills, goes to music. So this was costing me money for a little bit because I was, getting help from a producer and getting help from a cameraman. So I've kind of decided to dial it back a little bit, just in terms of like who all is involved. And right now it's just me and one other person who's helping me out. So and that's just with the video side of it, and then the audio and getting the the audio and video all lined up. So I'm just glad that I'm getting back to it, and I want to get some consistency going forward. I stepped away from all of social media, and I think that was really good for me the last 6 months. I was in my head a lot, and I needed to just take a step back and stop worrying about what was I gonna post every day, is it gonna get views, how am I gonna what filter am I gonna use, just like every little detail you have to think about when you're posting a social media post, especially when you're posting it for thousands of people to see. And that's where I've gotten to. I've been blessed to get to that point where every time I post something, thousands of people are gonna see it. So it's like every post to me needs to be better than the last. And so I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and so I needed to get away from that because that was just becoming unhealthy for me. And I was stressed out a lot, getting a lot of anxiety about it. So it's been, probably 6 months now since I took a step back from social media and really everything. And then the podcast I kind of started half-assed, 3-4 months ago. And now, after having taken a step back from everything, including the podcast now for the last couple months, I'm feeling refreshed, ready to go, and have now a few other people behind me helping me to kind of make me feel a lot more comfortable. So, that's where we're at. And today I have both of my cousins here. I've got Harrison and I've got Matt. They are both here as guests on the podcast today, and I'm really happy to have you guys. Thank you for being here, and
happy to be here.
Yeah, willing to come on. You know what I mean? It's I grew up with both these guys. So they're not only my cousins, but like my best friends. So it was really important to me to not only have Harrison on, which he's been on here before, but to have Matt on as well. So
I'm gonna give the old man perspective, right? So I'm 36. Oh shoot, I just turned 37. I'm so old I don't even know how old I am anymore.
Yeah, Matt's 37 and I'm 29, and Harrison's
27, turning 28.
Okay, so we're all within the same age group pretty much. But yeah, Matt's a little bit older, and we grew up all hanging out together because our moms are all sisters, and they're all one of 7. So and they're really close, close-knit family, like we discussed on me and Harrison's last podcast. We every single Christmas, Thanksgiving, it was going to our aunt, Uncle Lucky's house, or Paige's house, or whoever's house. We're pretty much always getting together growing up.
You get the full squad together. I think we roll over 40 deep.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
And one thing to point out is Matt and I actually grew up on the same street for a good chunk of our life as well. So, and now it's funny. Fast forward to now, our parents actually have beach houses on the same street as well. So, can't really get away from each other if we tried.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny because, I've told you guys I grew up in Frederick, but then I moved to Rockville pretty much in 5th grade, and by the time I moved to Rockville, Harrison and Matt, lived on the same street at that point because Harrison had just moved out of this. Because I went and lived with my grandma, and Harrison was just living there. So I kind of moved into where Harrison was just living, I believe, is how it worked out. And then you went and moved into Sloan Street. I think that's how it worked out.
They were within walking distance still, though.
Yeah, we were within walking distance, so it was like crazy though. It was cool that we were all so close together, and then we hung out not only for holidays but pretty much weekends. We would be getting together and stuff. And
one thing to point out about that is obviously like a lot of our early childhood was centered around our grandmother's house and our grandfather's house. Obviously our grandfather passed away before most of us were born. I think all of us were born actually, but
yeah, I was born on the same day as his birthday, but he had passed away before I was born.
I always forget about that.
Yes, it's kind of
pretty
a weird
wild.
one.
So our childhood life was really centered around our grandmother's house, where they had all grown up and actually gone to school in the area and stuff like that. So our grandmother's house, that's still actually owned by our Uncle Skip, was pretty much where we all met up, had parties, had holiday parties and stuff like that growing up. And we all took care of our grandmother as a group effort, especially the siblings, as she had Alzheimer's for pretty much the first 15 years of my life. So, you guys experienced that as, I guess, a little bit older than me, but that's kind of how we were all in the same place, same time.
Many a crab was picked on that back porch.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The screened-in back porch, and certainly plenty of crabs that were picked by at least 10 to 15 of us at a time.
Yeah.
A few haircuts were had on that back porch as well, I think.
Yeah, it was like we were like kind of oddly close, like definitely closer than most families, I would say. But it was good though, because it was like if you needed somebody to talk to and your parents weren't there, you probably had an aunt or uncle that were nearby. So you kind of always had some support, and that to this day is still the case. So we're really blessed in that perspective and that aspect of of life, I think.
It ultimately carried down to us from the sisters, right? The sisters were best friends, and there was no choice but for us to we were always going to be growing up together and hanging out and stuff like that, and that was just because it stems all from our parents. Just being so close, and so we kind of lucked into that, and we were born into that, really.
Exactly. I think they definitely made it like that was something very important to them. Obviously, was maintaining like the closeness of the family, and they were always going to make sure that if we didn't, maybe we might not be best friends, but we were at least kind of get together and see each other.
I think they laid the foundation for what hopes to be generations to come, kind of doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And certainly there might be, not cliques, but kind of groups that maybe hang a little bit more with each other than with everybody. But that's just a numbers thing. You can't bring 40 people out to Harpoon Hannah's at the beach all together and expect to get seated. So
right.
You got to do your own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys, like you just said, you guys have a beach house now on the same street too. So that's awesome. I mean, we grew up going to the beach together. I think that was one of the big things, was how, like, I think bringing us close together was just going to the beach and being there during the same week and kind of.
Which also stems from, I think we're going to talk about tradition a lot today in this podcast, but I think the tradition of going to the beach really starts with our parents and their parents as well.
I think what they would do would be, okay, either we're doing the last week of June and first week of August, but they would kind of coordinate when is everybody going to the beach, what week or what 2 weeks, and then it would be, okay, we're gonna have this rental property and everybody's gonna rent right around kind of the same street number. So then we'd have 5 umbrellas on the beach and 20 some people in our chairs, and that was something that, I mean, my mom has told me that I was at the beach after I was born in May. So I, as a 2-month-old, I was on the beach with the family, and that's something they did, before me and for over 30 years, and we still do that.
And now, tribute to them, they've all done super well in their lives, and they are now, most of them are back at the beach in retirement or getting close to retirement, and they all have their own places, and we're fortunate enough to be able to go visit them now down there.
Oh yeah,
pretty much
I got a
as
key to the beach, and I take full advantage of it. That's for sure.
So summer just started, so me and Matt will certainly be down there a lot. Ben's already been down there once or twice.
I have, yeah. I love the beach. I absolutely love the beach. That's my like happy place. I mean, I think the vibe's different than it is in my hometown of Montgomery County. It's much more relaxed. Obviously, everyone's on vacation, you think, when they're down there. But there are a lot of locals, and I feel like the local vibe is also relaxed. So I just love the vibe of being, everyone at ease, it seems like. And no one's, worried about anything that's, not worth worrying about, you know what I mean? Not stressing the little things, that type of vibe. So, and that's my kind of vibe. So I love the beach. And
now that everyone has places, Skip's place, which he never goes to, is pretty open for the Bowlanders.
We'll have to do a top 5 places to eat at the beach at some point.
Oh yeah. So the list or the topics for today we were going over before the show. We're just going to be a top 10 day. It's going to be top 10 lists. We first started talking about basketball. Then we started talking about TV shows, and then Harrison threw out artists. So. But it really all got started with the basketball talk, and that's always been a thing of ours throughout the years. Is just talking shit about who's the best basketball player in the world, and I have always been adamant that it's been LeBron James, as everyone knows on this podcast. If you don't already, LeBron James is my favorite athlete, favorite basketball player. Favorite celebrity, definitely just like idol LeBron James. But everyone knows that already. So
he loves LeBron so much. Basically, he would come over. There would be years where he would just come over and we would just play some 2K. And what we would do is we would draft teams. But basically, it'd be like, all right, you get LeBron because you have to get LeBron. Right. But then I need the next 3 picks, right? If we're going to do just current NBA players, right? Because LeBron's a 99, so give me the 96. And then it became, all right, I'll take LeBron, or Ben would say, I'll take LeBron. You can pick your whole starting 5, right. and then we can go from there.
Right.
And so it was.
I would do anything I could to keep LeBron on my team.
That was just a given. But yeah, that was fine. I didn't want to play him if he didn't have LeBron.
Exactly.
I wanted to beat him with LeBron.
Yeah, no.
He was day one on LeBron.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like I had to choose against him just because it was like all right, yeah, it's year 2 and he seems like he's going to be great. But
right.
I'll say right now. Biggest fan I've come across, and from the very, very start.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a LeBron fan, and people know that. But
I'm honestly kind of shocked that LeBron doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he's got.
Honestly, I've never met a bigger LeBron fan.
Because the thing is, there's definitely bigger quote unquote LeBron fans, like weird ones probably that like
super thirsty,
like just weird ones that have their whole room, LeBron, whatever. But I'm saying
that's different than you.
I'm not that though. I'm really like 10 years old, like watching LeBron James in his fucking Irish jersey in high school, like just getting ready for it, like so hyped, and just like automatically, just like I don't know why, but just falling in love with like the way that he played basketball at that age. And I always just being like, all right, this is going to be my guy, because I was already really into basketball. I loved Allen Iverson at the time. Allen Iverson was actually my favorite player in the NBA before LeBron, and I loved Allen Iverson almost as much as I like LeBron. I loved Allen Iverson. But then it was like, all right, who's going to be the next guy? And it was like, I didn't like Kobe that much. I don't know why. I just didn't. I guess it was because his games were on late at night and I never really got to watch him. So it was just like, I don't know. I never really liked him. Yeah, it was just West Coast. Like as a kid, I never watched Kobe that much. I don't know why.
I feel like Cameron kind of claimed Kobe as his favorite
and my
player.
Younger brother Cameron loved Kobe. So that was like, I guess I just felt like, all right, Kobe's already getting enough love from Cameron. I want to find somebody else. And so, when LeBron was coming up, I was just like, all right, this is my guy, whatever. You were a Kobe fan.
I had to be a Kobe guy just to go against LeBron.
Right.
Okay, well, if you get LeBron,
right,
you're going to say, this kid's
I'm going to claim LeBron,
and he's already number 1. I'm like, well, he ain't better than Kobe.
Right.
And then I had to switch it to, well, he ain't better than Durant. And it was kind of like, all right, well, he probably is better than Durant right now. But,
right.
Watch out for Durant.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was cool.
Durant,
I mean, it was just shit talk.
Durant.
You know what I mean? It was shit talk and it was fun, but Kobe was the heir apparent when LeBron came into the league. He was the guy that LeBron needed to dethrone before he could become the best player in the league. So that was definitely the case.
You're right.
I think that but I definitely felt like after a few games I saw that they had played whatever, I felt like he had done that, but it's like he obviously hadn't. Kobe still had 5 rings. I was a young kid, so I was always, and we'll talk about this in terms of how I judge players, because I'm still like this to this day. Is I look at somebody and then I like to think that I can predict their future based off of how they're playing and kind of how they carry themselves and whatever. I like to think that when I was watching LeBron James at 19, 20, 21, as I told people around me, I saw him becoming the best player of all time, because I really thought, okay, he's already 21. He's already pretty much just as good as, Kobe Bryant at 21. So imagine what he's going to be at 28. That's just how I thought. So I was just like, okay, he's definitely going to get there. And, just the fact that he started younger, I thought that was another reason why, in my head, the way that thinking went was okay, he started at 18. Jordan didn't start till 22 or 23, whatever it was. So just he had those extra years kind of on Jordan to kind of gain the extra experience. So whatever. That was my reasoning for thinking LeBron was going to become better than Jordan. But it's going to be cool to talk about just who you guys think is your top 10 and why, and I guess, Harrison, we'll start with you. Who's your top 10 basketball players of all time, and why?
Oh wow, we're going right into it. Well, before we say that, I will say that just the anti argument for LeBron, which was from the beginning, that everyone was projecting him to be the best player of all time, and that was always the conversation was he's going to be the best player of all time, and I think you either fell on one side or the other of the conversation. Is he going to be the best player of all time, or is he not? And you kind of fell on one side of the argument.
Yeah, you said that the other day, and I disagree with that completely, because I feel like everybody in the media was talking shit about LeBron. Oh, he's on. Sure, he was on. Yes, he was. Yes, he was on Sports Illustrated, The Chosen One. Yes, but I'm saying once that came out, everyone in the media was like, "Why is he on Sports Illustrated? He's not. He hasn't done shit yet." I remember Stephen A. specifically, and Skip Bayless has always had a thing for talking shit about LeBron. So
I guess more I meant that there was always a narrative against him. That he was fighting against. I just was more saying that.
It kind of reminds me of Bryce Harper or something like that in baseball. It was this guy's coming up and he's going to possibly be the greatest of all time.
Sure.
So you're always going to have a segment who goes, well, I'm not crowning him until he does something.
Okay.
So then it's okay, well, right, great. If a second team All-NBA as a rookie, which I don't know if he did,
right.
but I'm guessing maybe he probably
Something
got to
that.
third team All-NBA at the very least as a rookie.
Sure.
And as a second year player, and not that there's don't talk to me until you get a ring, but at least let's get 3 or 4 seasons in first before we can go down this road, which. Whether that's right or wrong, who knows, right? But he could have been a top 5 player in that season just starting out.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that there's a little bit of all right, young buck, do something first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's kind of I got you penciled in at 2 or 3 current players, but I can't fully write that down and yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just refuse to write that down yet,
right?
Because you got to earn your stripes, which is an old school mentality, and old school guys that were in the league still, I think, do that today.
Yeah, and Matt got to see Jordan play a little bit, or mostly
a little bit.
I mean, you
I
were
was high school
not
class
that
of 03, so he was kind of his 96 season. I would have been 11.
Right.
So I mean, I remember the NBA on NBC theme tune, but I wasn't fully locked in.
Right.
And plus in that day and age, you didn't have all the resources that you do now.
Right.
So I wasn't watching West Coast games and
Yeah.
and things like that. But
When did ESPN even start? ESPN was probably still in the early days, like in '96. You know what?
It was around, but it was like if you didn't catch it when it was live, then it wasn't like you
it
had
wasn't
DVR
all day
or
ESPN, right?
and-
ESPN was a show.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you could record it, so it was different. And
Remember how
DVR.
different it was?
you know,
When we were kids, like not that Matt's that much older than us, but when we were kids, ESPN is completely different than it is now.
yeah, I mean,
And I'm sure it was different then.
I got 10 years on you, man. I'm telling you,
It's-
10 years has got some technological advancements.
well,
Yeah,
you've been
it does.
through, you've seen it all. You saw like when there was no, you were like kind of are able to remember when there was no internet until now, right?
Sure,
Or,
yeah.
Well, growing up, you're kind of at the disposal of the people that are allowing you to watch TV late at night and who are taking you to games and everything like that. And so our family, and I believe it's everybody in it, kind of grew up more like baseball fans. Right, we grew up spoiled Baltimore Orioles fans. We had an older cousin who worked in the warehouse, and I would volunteer to shoot off confetti cannons during the national anthem on like opening day at Orioles games as like an 11-year-old. You know what I mean? Like I got no business being there, right? So I was full on Cal Ripken, and that was kind of the passion of the family. What was more like Baltimore Orioles,
Where's that
and
come from?
we need somebody from DC, and we grew up in a baseball family because our grandmother's brother, Frank Cashin, was the GM of the Mets, and this is a cool thing. I believe he signed Darryl Strawberry as a rookie, like Doc Gooden.
right.
You know what I
GM
mean?
of the
Early
World
on.
Series Mets. GM of the
Yeah,
World
World
Series
Series
Mets. So
Yeah, so that was everybody kind of grew up baseball fans, and my dad was a Yankees fan, so he loved to talk shit to the O's fans in the group and all that kind of stuff. So we grew up very, very spoiled baseball fans, and I didn't realize until later in life that I should have been playing lacrosse the whole time, but you know, whatever. I love me some baseball. Go Nats.
yeah.
Every other sport but lacrosse.
Baseball was definitely a big thing. I forgot about that, and that is so sick that we had that, Oriole connect with Stacy, and you were able to meet Cal Ripken on a number of occasions.
I rode an elevator with him once, and I got to this day they still kind of do some things with the Oriole program as far as social media events and things like that. So but yeah, early on I have a picture of me and Cal Ripken where I look like such a nerd. I got my T-shirt tucked into shorts, but he's just he was the man. He was the man.
Yeah.
I got a picture with Cal Ripken probably before I even knew he was the man. I was like
Yeah,
3
yeah.
or 4, like didn't even know what I was doing there, but I was there, on someone's shoulders, and meeting Cal Ripken. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that was sweet. I mean, we were always told of how cool he was, from our parents. So it was like, we believed it when we saw
Stacey,
him
like,
and
knew
stuff.
him.
And Stacy
They
knew
really
him and
seemed
stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, it was cool. Yeah, we had the connect that knew him. But yeah, so baseball was a big thing. I mean, but I want to go back to your basketball.
back to my talk
back to
line.
the.
All right,
But
so
yeah, go ahead. So
let me-
Harrison's on the.
So I took this list originally started. We didn't get a lot of notice for this podcast,
should we
but
go Harrison full 10, or should we go like number 1? I think 1 and 2.
All right, I think we're
one
all
and two,
agreeing.
Everybody knows who 1 and 2 are. The debate is who you got 1, who you got 2.
Yeah.
I have LeBron 1 at
I
this
guess
point.
explain why you have who you have one.
All right, let's go. You want to go top three?
give
Top
me your
3 and
top
discuss
10.
top 3?
Give me your top 10, and if you want to explain any of them.
All right. All right, I'll give you my top 10, and I will just say this is the top 10 of my lifetime as far as... So I don't have anyone on this list that was before... I don't have anyone on this list that was before I was born.
Okay.
So...
That's a good criteria that you self-imposed on your own list.
Yes.
We all have different criteria.
Because, I would love, to have said that I watched all these great people, but, I can only speak to what I've seen, and the rest would be purely statistical, and my train of thought on the NBA is the NBA is the best it's ever been in the history of the game. It's being played at the highest level, the most pure form of the game that's ever been played, and I think that pretty much everyone in today's NBA is better than everyone. The NBA as a whole is much better than it was.
70 nowadays.
Right. Like I think 2K, like, you know, rates some people down in the 60s, 70s, low 80s. Like I think you could bring 2K ratings up a little bit. But anyways, so I got LeBron at 1. I think at this point, just the body of work is just the greatest body of work we've ever seen in the NBA, and that's why I have him at 1. I have Michael there, the greatest winner of all time. No debates there at 1 and 2. I have Kobe Bryant as my 3. I think Kobe Bryant really emulated a lot of what Michael Jordan did. He was an absolute killer. Rest in peace. One of the most tragic things that I've, you know, from a celebrity standpoint, you know, celebrities that have passed away in our lifetime, I mean, definitely up there with some of the most impactful, you know, that really hits you hard. Steph Curry is my 4th. I think he's revolutionized the game. He's the reason that a lot of the kids growing up now, you know, play the way that they do and changing the way the game's being played every day with the 3-ball. And I also think he's one of the best off-ball players that we've ever seen. Just grabbing attention of defenders, you know, just he's always running around the court and he's always finding an opening for himself and his teammates. Shaq, Tim Duncan, Kevin Durant, Allen Iverson, Giannis, and Vince Carter would round out my list. And with an honorable mention of Tracy McGrady. Vince and Tracy can go in the top 10 kind of interchangeably for me. And that's, again, purely just me watching basketball, the players that really impacted me the most, you know, even back playing, you know, as much as I could try to emulate the things that they were doing. Obviously, could never do anything that Vince Carter could do, but, you know, Tracy just, you know, scored 13 points in 7 seconds in that one game. I mean, I think he is a underrated player, but I think you know, Shaq, Tim Duncan was one of the greatest. You know, just the big fundamental, right? Is that Tim Duncan? So I mean, I just remember playing 2K. The Spurs, you know, were just a squad. So I love playing with them.
2K. I was playing NBA Live 96. Right, NBA Live 96, it was all about Spurs versus Nets, and that was the Spurs that had Parker and Ginobili, and the Nets had Richard Jefferson and Jason Kidd. You got Kerry Kittles, who's got the little 3-point marker on him and stuff like that. So NBA Live was way better than 2K, because 2K at first was on like Sega Saturn, and nobody had a Sega Saturn. So we were EA Sports had a basketball game, so that was NBA Live, and NBA Live was the basketball game, and in high school we basically me and my buddy Steve Marconi, we used to have like series, right, where it was like, all right, you know, I'm the Spurs and he's the Nets, or one way or the other, and it was just kind of like okay, tonight we're just doing a best of 7. You know what I mean? And we're going to switch up home and homes and away and aways. And it's kind of like what me and Ben used to do, you know, a couple years ago, where like, okay, you draft your squad, I'll draft my squad, and then we're doing a best of 7. Okay, you got the first 2, so we're going to reset, and then we're going to do a best of 7 now that I'm down 0-2 from starting now, right? But no, the Spurs and the Nets back in the day, but it's just again, I feel so old. No.
So yeah, Matt, go ahead.
So I can jump in. I can jump into mine. I when making my list, I did not kind of disclude any historical or you know, whatever. Now I think it's super tough to grade, you know, eras and you know, where I didn't actually watch it, but I tried to do that anyway, which may have been foolish. And you know, next time I'll give you a top 10 of my lifetime. But I'm gonna go MJ above LeBron. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and talk why. You know, so we'll just jump on to the next one. I think they might as well be 1A, 1B, and I can listen to both arguments why they would be flipped around. Now the next, you know, I was kind of looking at some lists, and The Athletic and ESPN.com put out some all-time lists, and you know, so just looking on kind of what they think. I kind of look at, you got three historic centers. You got Wilt, Kareem, Bill Russell. I don't know who's better, right? But it seems like based on the body of their careers, that they would be kind of the next three up. And ultimately, I found from what I was looking at that Wilt was the most impressive. Averaged 50 a game one season. They changed more rules because of him than anybody who's ever played basketball. Plus, I'm pretty sure they say he, got with over 1,000 women in his life. So, I mean, I'm adding that in. That's impressive. Nobody's got a more impressive stat on my list than Wilt. But he seemed to have been the absolute most dominant person in any era. So I get a little nostalgic and old school when it comes to, I guess, my list. So to be honest with you, 3, 4, 5, Wilt, Kareem, Bill. I'm gonna go Wilt 3. Doesn't matter to me where you put Kareem and Bill, right? And I really don't have a whole lot to say about them other than that's where they're at. I don't think anybody currently playing comes into this next tier. And this next tier, I think, is Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, right? Who do you got over Kobe and Shaq? I'm taking Kobe over Shaq, but I think I'm taking Duncan over both of them. And the big fundamental and the rings, and he was a stud. You know what I mean? And he doesn't get a whole lot of love, but I mean, on my makeshift list, he's number 6. And I'll take Kobe at 7, Shaq at 8. And I'm realizing right now that I don't have Magic on my list. And if based on my criteria, he should probably be in there somewhere. But I had Larry Bird, number 9, and KD 10. So KD as my first, still active, other than LeBron, of course, to make the list. And looking at it, again, I never watched Magic play, and I don't know how good he was, but the story goes, right? So Magic has to be above Larry. So if that means he's 9 and Larry's 10, that bumps KD off. But I think KD will ultimately finish his career better than Larry Bird. But Larry Bird was dominant. I just remember, you watch the all-time greats, and they tell stories about these players. And my favorite Larry Bird story is him walking into the three-point contest and going, all right, which one of you bums is taking home second place? And he didn't even take off his warm-up jacket, and he just went, put up 28 points, and was just like, it was like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? And so I think there's stuff like that. Would Larry Bird in his prime have beaten Steph in a three-point contest? Probably not. And Steph is he's certainly in my top 15. And can finish in the top 10 of all time. I think active players that could finish in the top 10 all time, I've got Steph and like I said, KD already knocking on that door. And I think Giannis is very, very quickly approaching because of the what he's putting up. You fast forward 7 or 8 years or whatever it is, and Luka's on the list, and where Chris Paul ends up. Well, Chris Paul's probably ship has sailed at this point, I would say he ain't in the top 20, who knows? Kawhi comes back, and Paul George and them, they win another ship. I mean, does he break the top 15? I don't know. So I'm somebody who's going to leave to be determined as part of it for some of the honorable mentions. But then again, I never saw Wilt or Kareem or Bill Russell play, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there was some credentials there I definitely disagree with, just in terms of the centers, I mean, I guess not credentials, but like I think Shaq was better than all three centers that you just named. To me, Shaq was probably the third most dominant player of all time, if not like top three. Definitely, it's him, Giannis, and LeBron James, the most dominant players of all time in terms of like physically, just like you cannot stop them.
Not more so than Wilt.
Wilt and Kareem were pretty.
I mean, Wilt, sure, but all right. So how I look at it is
no one said Hakeem Olajuwon either.
Right, I've got Hakeem in my like top 20, but
Right.
he's not
Yeah,
he's not
I think
he's
he's
worse
that
than
next
he's
big
that
up.
next
If we go to
big.
top 20, I got literally all these people we're talking
To me, the way I look at it is like I didn't even realize this until I just kind of thought about like what are my credentials, and I think it is just like if my life depended on it, what is my top picks? Like okay, I get to pick like top. These are my picks. My life depends on it. Who's the best to like the 10th, and like I guess the number of picks is like who's playing the most. I don't know, but like they're all like if I had to decide, this is my life. Okay, number 1, LeBron James. Number 2 is Michael Jordan, and that I think both are significantly ahead of the third place. I think that
Yes.
LeBron James has in the last couple years, I think set himself apart from MJ just in terms of longevity and what he's able to do at this age. I'm not a big ring argument guy. I definitely just think that they were both they are both winners. They were both killers. They were both clutch. They both did their thing. To me, it's just so much more impressive to do it for 21, 22 plus years rather than 15. So that's where I separate LeBron from MJ. Go ahead, Harrison.
Question for Ben here. At what point in time did LeBron pass MJ on that list for you?
Draft night.
So the official.
No, I'm just playing.
So we were talking about it I guess before show. I kind of dubbed him. I don't know if I was saying he was going to be the best like when he was a rookie, but I know like second year in the league I was telling everybody he's better than Jordan. He's going to be better than Jordan. Like I just like knew it. Or at least that's what I thought.
If he didn't win,
No, I know what you're saying. Then it wouldn't have
come
come true. I understand that, but I in my head.
But it did come true. So when? At what point?
No, I know, and I'm getting there. I'm telling you, I'm getting there.
Right.
So I'm saying that, I had already dubbed him that. But in terms of Harrison's question just now, like, okay, well, officially, when did I put him? And I think that was when he beat Golden State. When he came back from 3-1, and I think even actually before that, I actually think he lost the first time, right? I think the first time he lost because he went. Did he win the first time he played Golden State in Cleveland?
No, Miami,
They lost. He went to
lost
Miami.
the first year.
Yeah, Miami.
So
But then
they
when he
lost
went
to
to
Spurs,
Cleveland,
didn't they?
yeah, they lost the Spurs. But I'm saying then he went to Cleveland and he won right away. The first year he went to Cleveland,
No.
or he lost that year.
Because Kyrie was injured that
Yeah,
year.
so
Kevin
that was
Love
the year.
injured.
That was the year I
Kyrie
decided
and
he was.
Kevin Love were both
The
injured
year he
by the end
lost.
of the finals.
The year he lost to them in the finals and averaged 36 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists in the finals and shot 52%. I was just like, what the fuck? Like I've never seen someone play that good in the finals ever in my life, and that in any circumstance, whether it was like regular season or not, it was retarded what he was doing. It was just so efficient. He was shooting, he was dunking, he was doing everything. So that was to me when he passed him, because again, I'm not a ring guy. I'm just like, if you make it there, that's very impressive to me. The fact that he made it there 10 years in a row, I think that was his 8th year in a row at that point. Like to me, that was when he had passed Jordan. It was just like, okay, this is now your like 8th year in a row being in the finals. You just averaged like a 35-point triple-double in the finals and shot 52%. Like there you go. Like to me, that was that. And then the next year he beat them and then surpassed 3-1, which just kind of like to me helped me like. All right, now for sure. But like, yeah, to me it was the year before that, I guess. 2015, I think it was, that I believe he passed MJ. That was for me.
Yeah, I think for me it was the next one.
2016.
Yeah, when he came back from
When he ended up coming back and winning. Yeah.
and won. And
That's
that
cool.
was the Cleveland. This is for you. One.
This is for you. Yeah, that was
So that was nice. I mean, that was this. From day one, it was like, can this boy from Cleveland become a man, have the career that everyone thinks he could potentially have with his skill set and his pure physical and athletic abilities?
Yeah.
And he did it, and he brought the championship back to his city, to his.
But yeah, I mean, enough about LeBron. So after LeBron and MJ, who again I think stand way above my third, which is Steph. And the reason I put Steph third is because I think that out of anybody that LeBron has played, I believe Steph Curry has probably given him the most trouble out of anybody he's really played in terms of just like not really being able to match up with him, because he's just so like he's so shifty, and by the time LeBron was matching up with him, LeBron was in his 30s. So I mean, if you put LeBron, if Miami LeBron's guarding Steph on the Golden State Warriors, I think it's a little different. But it was a little bit older LeBron at that point guarding Steph Curry, who was just so shifty and stuff, and I just think that was really impressive. So to me, and then just being the best shooter of all time by far, and going to however many 6 finals I think he's been to, 6 or 7. I know he hasn't gotten his finals MVP yet. I think he was robbed of 1, maybe even 2, by Andre Iguodala and
Iguodala. That was stupid.
And Kevin Durant was the MVP of that team.
Durant was
Doesn't Curry have 3 rings?
Curry has 3. Yes, this would be 4 if he wins.
So Durant only got 1 of them.
Right.
Iggy, who would have got?
It wasn't Steph. Let's see who.
Okay, we'll move on. I'll
we'll pull that up. But no, was it Draymond Green? Maybe no, it wouldn't have been. But it was somebody.
Did LeBron get it when they lost?
So that. No, LeBron didn't get it. I would have known that, but no, he should have, because it was 30. That was the first time it had been argued, because he played so well. He averaged that 35-point triple-double, and it was like, should he be the MVP? But it was like, no, they gave it to somebody else. But
didn't Jerry West get Finals MVP and lose?
Jerry West went to like something crazy, like 6 or 7 straight finals and lost them all, and then finally won one. I think he finally won his last one.
But I think
Steph doesn't have one. Durant won it.
Twice. Okay. Yeah, so Durant won it twice. But Durant was a dog in those seasons. That was Durant's peak. That was Durant's prime. And, Durant, in that, you would say, okay, he won the MVP. So that makes Durant better than Steph, right? But it's like, the reason I don't do that is because Durant had to come play with Steph to win that championship. Durant himself should have stayed in OKC and should have, because they just had taken Steph to 3-1 the year before in the Western Conference Finals. They were up 3-1 and lost. Durant in OKC. I think he should have stayed in OKC or gone somewhere else. Just don't go to OKC, or don't go to the Warriors. And even though LeBron had just kind of created, I guess you could say, a super team in Miami, I don't think that's the same, because I think that if LeBron had gone to Boston back in the day, like when Boston was dominating him, and then if he had jumped ship and gone and played for Boston, that's like what KD did, was like jump ship and go play for the team in your conference that's stopping you. It's just so silly.
I agree with all that, but I will say it just matches up with who KD has always said he is as a person, is he's never cared about the rings. He purely wants to play the best basketball he can play, and I think he thought the Warriors was the best place that he would be able to play his best basketball, and I think we saw him play his best basketball. So
I guess so, yeah. But
I agree with everything you said, but the only caveat is that
he played well. I'll give him that. I mean, he played well. It's not like he went there and shat the bed. He won the MVP 2 years in a row, Finals MVP.
We've seen a lot of other people since then change teams and shit the bed after. So
right, so
he did do it.
I mean, it's just the fact that I don't think he would have won those rings if he didn't have Clay and Steph there. You know what I mean? And it's just like.
All right, so
whatever.
Steph
to me, it's Steph 3, Kobe 4. And the reason I put Kobe 4 is because I think Kobe was the second most influential basketball player of all time. I think he has, so many signature moments in his career that people really resonate with, and more so than any other player, just because Kobe came after Jordan. So Jordan really got everybody locked in the NBA, and then Kobe came and people were like, okay, cool, at least we've got somebody else to watch now. Nobody was paying attention to the NBA. Jordan came, and then it was like, all right, now we're really paying attention. And then Kobe was that next guy. So it was like people love Kobe.
The Dream Team, you got to watch that Dream Team documentary, right? Where the '92 Dream Team.
Yeah.
And it's awesome if you've ever seen it. I think it's an NBA TV documentary, and it's great about how the Dream Team and just the global impact and how basketball at that moment kind of just changed forever.
Took off, yeah. So like that whole era changed basketball forever, and then it was like Kobe's next. So it was like everybody paid attention to Kobe, and he just delivered. And it was like he was very similar to Jordan in everything he did, and people loved that too because they were like, all right, cool, like it's almost like Jordan's still here, kind of. So I definitely get, everything as to like why people love Kobe so much, and that's really more so why I put him at 4 than even his skill, because I do think he was a little inefficient, and very inefficient for me personally, and like I just don't. To me, I really want you to shoot over 48% for your career, and it's like he didn't even really come close to that. So that was kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it's like I just think his impact was just so much greater than anybody else on this list. 5, I have Giannis, because I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is now this, like I said, like top 3 most dominant physical players of all time. Now we've seen he's absolutely ridiculous. I never thought I would see someone, or not never thought I would see. I was always waiting. Who's going to be the next person that's like a little bit more impressive than LeBron James physically? Yeah. And now it's Giannis. It's like that's who it is, and it's like
For the next 5 years, I'll take Giannis over anybody else in the league.
Sure.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. We'll actually have that conversation, actually.
Is the man. And so yeah, exactly. So
Giannis is the man.
Giannis is a great personality.
Giannis is a good personality. He's a hard worker. He plays defense just as hard as he plays offense.
They got eliminated, and he was like,
that's why I put him at.
Run. We're gonna grow. We're gonna get better, and we'll move on.
The reason I put him at 5 is because of his defense, just as much of his offense. He's absolute beast on D. But like I said, that physical, just that who's gonna be like who is more physically gifted than LeBron? Like no one thought that would, not that no one thought it would ever happen, but it was like, what the fuck? And now it's Giannis. Giannis is unfair. Giannis takes 3 steps and he's down there. He's down that he's dunking it. And when he fucking rises up to dunk it, it doesn't look like he has to try very hard at all.
I think you should be good at basketball if you are the best athlete in the world.
In the world.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So LeBron was the best athlete in the world for 5-6 years at his prime or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So and he was the best. There's something that comes along with being the best athlete in the world.
Right, and to me, Giannis is by far Giannis should be better than he is right now. Actually, if
he could shoot,
the ball, now we are talking. He's top 3 of all time.
He can dunk.
He's not going to get any worse at shooting, like Harrison said, but he does need to improve vastly before I can put him top 5 of all time. He's 5 right now. Before I can put him in that top 3. He needs to be able to shoot. But he's on his way. Right now, to me, he is on his way for that, third. Jordan should be worried. To me, Jordan should be worried about Giannis Antetokounmpo. If I was Jordan, I'd be like, damn, this guy might pass me too. Like, fuck.
How old is Giannis? He's probably going to be balling for at least 10 more years.
Giannis is 26 years old, so he's got another 10 at least years of dominating.
His game's not going to age like Steph's game ages, right?
No.
Steph's game, he can shoot. Right, so Giannis's game isn't going to age. He's going to get less physical. So hopefully over time,
right, he learns something.
He learns how to shoot a little bit better,
or at least get a little bit better in the
post.
He
certainly improved this year over last year
at shooting. Yeah.
So fun fact here: Giannis was born December 6th, 1994. He is 1 month younger than me.
Okay. So how old are you?
And you ain't shit in the NBA.
Yeah, so you're 26. So you're 27.
That makes me feel better,
Matt's exactly LeBron's age.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, we're the same high school class.
That is wild to me.
Right. I'm exactly Anthony Davis's age. He's like 3 days younger than me. Like it's like Anthony Davis is 7 feet and like.
I'm curious about your list. Where do you got him?
I don't have him. I don't have him anywhere. But so yeah, 6 we've got KD finally. I just hate KD as a person. I'll say it right now. I think he's very disrespectful when he talks about like LeBron James specifically. Obviously, I'm a LeBron fan and lover, whatever you want to call it. So it's like if I hear someone disrespecting LeBron, I'm gonna be like, why? And like get pissed about it. But it's just like I feel like he throws shade at him when people ask him his top 5 of all time. He doesn't mention LeBron and it's just like, dude, like. He has given you so much trouble over your career. Like Kobe gave him nothing but fucking, respect, and you're gonna just like not mention. I don't know. I just feel like that's annoying. So that's why I don't like him as a person, but I have to respect his basketball game. I put him at 6 because to me he's probably the second best, like top 5 scorer of all time for sure. I mean, maybe top 3.
Best of all time?
He's the best. No, but he's just so good. He can shoot the 3 as good as pretty much anybody other than Steph, and he's 7 feet tall, and like he can dribble too.
He can make a jumper from anywhere inside of like 28 feet.
Yeah, he's good.
And you can't block his jumper. You can't block his jumper because he's too tall. And
so hard.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, when he was young, dude, I mean, I remember that season he fucking was going off in OKC. Like his coming out season when he was dropping like 38 a game, and it was just like, that's not how much he averaged. I think he averaged like 30 something, but it was like
also
retarded.
Christian,
like,
Rockville, Maryland.
oh yeah, and he's from our
Let's
area.
go.
So yeah, you throw him out at 6. I think that Giannis just passed him though, because I think Giannis is just so much more physical than Kevin Durant now, and it's just like Kevin Durant was never that scary. Like you were never scared to play Kevin Durant. People are scared to play Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Kevin Durant will turn around and fucking put it on your head.
But you're not scared to play him. It's just like, yeah, he might, but you're not afraid. You're gonna be like, all right, fuck you, like, you know what I mean?
He's one of the hardest players.
You're not afraid that you're going to get physically beat up in the paint,
Right.
And that you're going to go home bruised.
Yes,
Like,
KD will
man,
beat your
that
ass.
He's gonna hurt your ego.
He's going to beat you.
That was tough. Between, I mean, all of the 3, 4, 5, and 6, Steph, Kobe, Giannis, and KD, I think are all interchangeable. I think you can make an argument for any of them at 3 and any of them at 6. So that's how that is. After that, I got Larry Bird. I love Larry Bird. I think that after watching the, I don't know if you watch any of that Lakers show on HBO, but it was pretty good. But after watching that, it kind of gave me a little insight.
About the one with John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. It's really good. You got to check it out. You'll like it. You'll like it.
I'll watch it.
But so after watching that, it actually like kind of. I mean, obviously not all of it's true, but it gave me the insight. It made me think that Larry Bird was the better player, and actually Magic believed that. But it was just like Magic was on the better team, and Magic was also just had that personality that Larry Bird didn't have. Whatever. But to me, Larry Bird's better than Magic. I put Larry Bird at 7.
Larry Bird was like a fuck you kind of guy.
Larry Bird would tell you what he was going to do and do it.
He used to have to physically fight people on the fucking court because they was testing him.
Yeah, I mean,
watch the show. They depict him as that.
They depict him as that. It's so good. He's like the first time you see Larry Bird in the show, he just walks up with that can and spits a big lip in it, and it's just like, what's up? It's pretty funny.
The 92 documentary about the Dream Team was like him and Patrick Ewing were like best friends, and Larry Bird was just buying Budweiser's all the time, and you know.
So Larry Bird 7. Then I actually, after you guys all mentioned Tim today, I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about Tim Duncan. Now I throw Tim in at 8 because I respect Tim Duncan so much because he was on those Spurs teams that gave Miami such trouble, and I'm a LeBron fan, so as a LeBron fan, you have to respect Tim Duncan. He was the best player on the team that gave you probably the most trouble throughout your career, was those Spurs teams. And it was just like, man, Tim Duncan was the leader of that team, and he was consistent and efficient. And to me, that's efficient. I love efficiency. It's like, man.
They were the Warriors before the Warriors.
They were just a fucking great team, and it was Tim Duncan was the catalyst. So it was like, all right, Tim Duncan at 8, and then after that, I got Luka Doncic. Now, I actually forgot to mention, I was going to go over my criteria as to like what my list is. My list is, oh yeah, I already said it. If my life's depending on it, who am I picking? It has nothing to do with like, all right, they're only 22. He has a lot. Like, no, yeah, he's only 22. But if my life depends on it, Luka Doncic is the 9th player I'm selecting to come be on the team and win for my life because I think he's so fucking good. I'm going with the best basketball players. I think Luka Doncic is so fucking good. I think his efficiency is amazing. He's shooting 50%, 30 points. I mean, he literally averages 30 points for his career, which is pretty cool. But it's like, I don't know if he's going to maintain that, but it's cool that he does that.
How many years has he been in the league? 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
3. So he has probably had the best 3 or 4 years
first
start,
and I think that's cool.
Any career, right?
I mean, statistically,
but I think, go ahead.
Again, you got to get 3 or 4 more.
I agree, and he needs a ring. Oh yeah,
and so yeah. If we're talking. Who all right, I'm a GM or I'm a coach and my job's on the line and next year I need regular season success and I need to make the conference finals.
Right.
Who am I picking?
That's a different story.
Then Luka is
up there.
Top 3
right,
guy.
Exactly.
You know and he's doing it like,
That's my point.
He's
it's just
doing
like
it without any
even though he's 22,
superstar. There's no other superstar.
That too, and I think he's played. He played a while overseas professionally. So I think even though he's played only a few years here, he's very seasoned and
What I like about him a lot
mature and the way he
loves
plays.
the spotlight. He absolutely
Loves the spotlight. He's a shit
thrives
talker.
in it.
Yeah.
He's a killer.
He's got the swag. He's got that X
got the
factor.
Mamba mentality.
Yeah, he's
Certainly
got it.
does.
So that's why I got him at 7 and 8, and then Tim Duncan. That's why I got him at 9 after Tim Duncan, and then to round out my top 10 is Shaq. To me, Shaq's the best center of all time. I think he's the most dominant. I think the fact that he was, just the hugeness of him, like the 7'2", 350 pounds, and being able to control your footwork is just like really, really impressive to me. And, there's just some highlights of him, breaking backboards, like, he was doing things that no one's ever done before. Obviously, Wilt Chamberlain, yes, he was more dominant against who he played against, but I picture Wilt Chamberlain playing against me and you. Like, I think that's who his competition was. Like, they weren't very that good. He's playing against guys that are, not good at basketball, and it's like, okay, cool. I would average 50 points against Cameron too when I'm, yeah.
Well, give me the era to era comparison, time a little bit later.
Right.
But for now, we were just talking about
Shaq. So that's why I put him in my top 10.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
I'm just saying he's the most physical of all time, and that's why I put him like ahead of any other center. But then I was thinking, okay, yeah, but Wilt was also that physical. But it's like, to me, he's playing against me and you, whereas Shaq's actually playing against Hakeem. He's actually dunking on. You know what I mean? So it's like,
So
right.
If I can go into my tangent on era to era comparisons.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to be as quickly as possible. So, if you teleport me as a 19-year-old into the 50s, I'm an NBA Hall of Famer.
Right.
Right? Unless I'm called for a travel all the time. Right? But if we're going to teleport Wilt as a 22-year-old in his peak into the modern day NBA, then yes, this probably won't work out. But let's teleport him as a baby into the 1985.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And then he can get all the nutrition and the training that a modern day athlete gets.
Yeah.
Then he's even better than what he was.
Right.
Right, so where would he be? Right, those arguments that's kind of like what I get at. It's like, man, you put me in with Pistol Pete Maravich, and it's like me and him are just like because nobody's ever seen anybody dribble in between their legs before.
Looking at you
know what I mean? Like, hold on, is this guy possessed by the devil? It's like, no, all I did was go behind my back. You know what I mean? So like again, it's the evolution of man.
Yeah.
Is one thing, and the people make a higher percentage of shots nowadays and things like that. But like again, if you were to teleport Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as an infant and give him all the nutritional benefits, he's at least 40 pounds heavier. Right. You know what I mean? He's not some skinny ass dude, right? So that's kind of like where I go with it. Put LeBron again. Put LeBron in. If he grows up in the 1970s and he's a baby, he's not going to be as good as he was, because he's not going to be as physically fit and be as fast and be as quick, because he didn't have the new They didn't even know about muscle builders and lifting weights and.
But that is the case though. So I'm just like, that is it's unfortunate that they had Wilt's at that disadvantage, but he is at that disadvantage. So
in the end,
Point on the generational argument. I've never really thought about it from
that is. I've always thought about it like that.
I just think about it like I don't go back to the. I agree with give them the. Let them be born, if they were born all in the same year and got the same, exposure to the game and yada, yada, yada. What would they be?
JJ Redick on First Take the other day. The guy was like, hey, Bob Cousy's like one of the top 5, talking about Bob Cousy versus Chris Paul, right? And it was like, well, JJ Redick was like, Bob Cousy was playing against like plumbers and whatever.
That's my point.
Yeah. Like, yeah, well, but if Bob Cousy grew up, if he was born,
he wouldn't be playing against plumbers. He would be playing against the top competition. He would be,
but he would have been. He probably would have been too small small.
Probably would have been too small,
you
right?
know what I mean? Too short.
The game is just
He
different
would have been
now.
thicker.
Yeah.
He would have been 20 pounds heavier because he had the benefit of growing up with modern day nutrition.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm kind of like at the point of I don't really want to do the comparison.
Sure.
So like, okay, what's the next top 5?
Yeah.
Or top 10? Is it all right? Moving forward, I need you one season right now, or moving forward, top 5.
Right.
The difference between those two criteria is John Morant being drafted in the top 5 versus John Morant maybe not being drafted in
At
the
all.
top 10.
Yeah. Right.
Well, John Morant doesn't even make it into the top 20 consideration yet. But
Right.
he's
But
gonna be
what
a
I'm saying,
freak.
if we're talking next 5 years,
But to
draft
me,
my team,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, that's why I love
John Morant's
drafting
so good though,
squads.
but to me, I don't know what it is. I think it's an efficiency thing. I'm just obsessed with
You gotta be
efficiency.
able to
But
shoot
it's
the
like
three and be able to make a clutch
you can't
three
shoot
as a
45%. You just can't. It's like he's Allen Iverson at this point. Like yes, he's very good, but he's not any better than Allen Iverson.
I think
Like
what people are all hyped about though is his second.
he's
year.
not any better than Kyrie
Second
Irving.
or third
Like
year in the league.
No, he's not.
The way that just the league people develop in the league these days, like from off season to off season.
Yeah.
The people that are focused and are focused and are
right, but how do you know he's focused? We don't know that he's focused.
You can tell because the last 2 years he's gotten so much better.
Yes, that's not sure. Yeah, John Morant, but I'm just saying, like to me, Luka Doncic is different than John Morant. Like they're two different. Like I see such a brighter future for Luka than
Luka,
Ja.
I
I
wouldn't
don't know.
argue with that. Yeah, but one of my prime examples is I'm not sure prime examples of what I'm talking about, but Jimmy Butler. Playoff Jimmy is different than any other Jimmy, right? And 2 years ago, even after the bubble, I believe I told you, like, I can't rank him in the top 15 or whatever it is
Right.
because I can't count on him to hit that shot, right? And then it's like maybe I was downplaying Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe you can, but his body of work and his overall numbers, if I'm down 3, 10 minutes or not 10 minutes, 10 seconds to go, then I don't want Jimmy Butler taking that shot on that team, even though he's the stud,
Right.
right? Because I don't trust him to make the shot. And if you can't make your shots, and I used to hold Giannis down because of it, but hey, in the biggest clincher, he went 14 of 16 last season.
Right.
And in the biggest playoff games,
As long as you can get to the hoop, like
So,
yeah.
I think the commonality between all of our lists.
You gotta be able to
You gotta
shoot.
be able to shoot.
I agree.
You gotta be able to shoot.
But Giannis has gotten away with it up to this point because of how athletic. Because he's even more athletic than LeBron to the point where he can
make
like
his free throws when it matters.
he can make his
That's
free
all that
throws.
matters
So
for him.
he's good at getting himself
You
to the
can't
line.
do hacky Giannis
Yeah,
if he's
you
making
can't
his free
do
throws.
hacky Giannis now, and it's just that his 2 steps from the 3-point line, he's there. It's just like so it's different than anybody that's
Random question. We haven't heard either of these two names. Joker or Embiid?
Joker or Embiid right now.
Next season. You tell me the scenario. And
Okay.
I'll tell you who I take.
Sure,
I'm
just
taking
Joker and
in both
Embiid for your
situations.
life, and their whole career body of work. Just like who's better
So far?
so far, like or not,
Joker
like
Probably
you have
Joker.
a game tomorrow.
Probably Joker because he's got
Yeah.
the 2 MVPs.
You want Joker. I'm just saying you have the game tomorrow. It doesn't matter about his MVPs. It's just who's going to win. Who's
game
playing better tomorrow.
Game 7 tomorrow? I'll
Yeah,
take Joker.
Joker. I'm going to take
Next season, next year, I'm taking Joker.
yeah, I'm taking Joker as well just because like I don't know. I just like he's going to make people around him better.
him.
He's going to make everybody around him so much better and like that's huge. Like
Jamal Murray back with
Embiid may just make the people around him not like just kind of like great like now I'm gonna watch him do like no offense on Embiid, it's just like when it's Embiid's time, it's Embiid's time. When it's Joker's time, it's everybody's time and Joker. It's it's triple double Joker throwing it out and doing his thing. I love a guy that can pass.
That's the difference in Joker's last 2 years is he's learned to pass the ball even more. He already could pass the ball, but now he's learned to. pass
He's
even more.
amazing. He's a triple. I love triple double guys. I mean, Russ Westbrook's the first triple double guy that I'm like made me second guess triple doubles altogether because I'm just like I hate Russ Westbrook, so I'm just like our triple doubles not as cool as I thought they were. But no, like it just
now you got all those modern day stats.
Yeah.
Usage and
Right.
player efficiency rating.
Yeah, but no, it's cool. I mean, I've done my list is done. You know, just missing that list was Kareem, Magic, and Wilt. So it's not like they were far off. And yeah, so that was, I went all the way to 20, but I won't do that. But it's like, there's so many. There is like I said, just that like LeBron, MJ are just so easily 1 and 2. I think everyone knows that in the world right now. Like that's
Shaq. Right, we're going to era to era.
Right.
People say, I've heard Shaq's argument to people telling him he couldn't play in this modern era. Mm-hmm. But like Orlando Magic Shaq, he says, I'd be Giannis.
Right.
I'd be the modern, or I would be Giannis. I'm going coast to coast.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And so.
Right.
The era to era thing is tough.
It is tough. That is really tough, and I think that's why there'll never be the true answer to this. It'll always be a debate. But
I think the top 20, I think we all probably have a very similar top 20 mixed around in different order.
Yeah, in different order though. The top 20. That's what's so cool about great basketball players is you can't dismiss. You can't dismiss them. It's just like you got to have them on there somewhere. Sure, they might not be in your top 10 if you want to be a dick, but like you can't not have LeBron at 11 or something. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? How low is he gonna get? Like, you know what I mean? It's 15. It's just like that's still pretty fucking high on the list of all-time players. So
10 years from now,
they're all amazing. You know what I mean? They're all fucking amazing, and that's why it's so hard to debate. But
all right. Hey, you just said top 10 years from now or 20 years from now, top 10 list.
Right.
Who in the last 2 or 3 years has a chance to make that list? Like Cade Cunningham, we talking the ones coming out now?
Yeah.
So I'll call it on here now. Holmgren, but someone coming behind Chet out of France is Victor Wembanyama. The 7'1" can do everything.
Deep scouting.
That's
2K scouting.
Right
Yeah.
He is an absolute dog. I call him the French Chet. If he can put on some weight, he's gonna be dangerous.
Sure.
But realistically, Luka, will move up in there. I think Ja Morant, if he continues at the rate he's at, and can get some playoff success, he could work his way up in there. Jason Tatum is putting on a great performance in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
But he's not a past 2 or 3
For the next 10 years, if Giannis thinks he's LeBron or MJ, he needs to maintain the top spot for the next 10 years.
Jason Tatum? Same age as Luka.
I think he will. I don't see why not.
Older than that, though. So it gets to the last,
but yeah, who
Mobley and
yeah.
I mean, I don't even know who was rookie of the year last year.
Barnes.
Really, the only people that super impress me are like I said, Luka Doncic, younger than 23. The people that really impress me are Luka Doncic and Ja Morant.
Jason Tatum's 24.
Jason Tatum's young, but he's 24. We already know Jason Tatum.
That's what we'll do next time. But 25 years or less
younger.
If he continues.
So I want to know now.
He's so good. The Suns don't even want him on their squad anymore.
I know, but put him somewhere else. I mean, he's a big boy.
They just didn't want to give him the Michael Porter Jr. contract, and before they had to, and then find out something happened.
Yeah. I don't know what's up with that because you'd think I don't know.
But he had the worst, physical report from after the draft combine, and then they signed him earlier than they actually needed to, and now they're stuck in probably what's going to end up being a bad contract. Contracts in the NBA are weird, right? I mean, I'm old enough to remember that Keith Van Horn got traded 2, 3, 4 times, and he wasn't even playing anymore. They just traded his contract around.
Dude, the Lakers have been paying Luol Deng for the last 10 years.
Luol's still on the roster.
This was the last year, I think, that he was getting paid by the Lakers. $9 million.
I would say Udonis Haslem, but I think they may just sign him every year, just to another year,
coach.
just so he can.
Yeah.
Just so he can.
He's also signed to the minimum.
Butler hey, I'll beat your ass. You ain't talking to Spoelstra this way.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean,
player coach at this point.
That is. There's. Who's the best player right now in the NBA? You both think Giannis? By far.
Hold on. Let me think about this.
Okay, so we're talking next year.
Yeah, next year.
I'm going to win now.
Yeah.
And to save my job,
Yeah.
who do I need on my team more than anybody else?
Yeah.
I probably would take Giannis. Because I know we're going to make the playoffs. I know he's just going to give it 100% every day. And
he's got a lot of energy.
I go with kind of the MVP vote. I'd go Giannis, Joker, maybe. What he did in Denver, carrying that team when they lost, what they lost, I don't know. Is Luka coming in shape? Devin Booker.
Or is he? Did he blow it?
No, he
just blow it.
He's a 10 to 12 kind of person. I think Chris Paul's great to have on your regular season roster because he's gonna get you into that 2 or 3 seed. But I think the book's written on that where I don't want him in the playoffs. So does my job depend on I got to make the conference finals and have a good showing? Then I don't want Paul. And Booker's probably not a top fiver for me. Embiid can take over a game and win a game for you. You need some shooters around him. But
I'm going with Luka Doncic.
And then you can't go wrong with Durant and LeBron. I know Ben's over here saying, "Where's LeBron?" No, we said LeBron yet, but I'm thinking he's outside of the top 3, but he's probably like 4 or 5.
Sure.
He's in the same group with Steph.
I think it's funny just that like people love not saying LeBron's name in this like now current list. It's like you would really have Jokic over LeBron James. Like to me, that's silly.
Well,
that's so silly. And it's like I think you can argue 2 people, and that's Durant and Giannis over LeBron. Those are the only 2 people that you could, to me, are worth an argument. But I would have LeBron James over both of them next year, and I'll tell you why. I think that. I like the shooting. It's just the shooting. It's
over the next 2 years. Is that what you said?
Next year.
Next year.
I'm saying next year I would rather have LeBron over Giannis because of the shooting specifically. I want someone that if it comes down to that game 7 and people are fucking guarding you, they're not going to be able to step back to the free throw line and guard you like that. I want people that have to guard you. I think LeBron brings that now. He averaged 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists last year on 50% shooting. He has not, fallen off at all in terms of offense. His defense has definitely fallen off, but that's because we haven't gotten to see him play in a playoff game really in the last couple of years. If you give LeBron James a playoff scenario, he's strapping up. I think he has that ability in him still. I think a lot of people that don't know LeBron, don't watch him on an every game basis like I do, kind of see him sometimes, maybe taking nights off, but someone like me knows that when it's go time, when it's 0 dark 23 time that he goes into every year, he's fucking about to go do that average, another 30-point triple-double probably on 50% shooting, you know what I mean, and do his thing. And I don't think anybody's really, other than Giannis, giving you that, because Giannis is also 55% shooting and also gives you 14 rebounds a game and on 7 assists. So he's up there. I mean, Giannis is really, it's a coin flip. It's coin flip. It's, I wouldn't be at all disappointed if I ended up with Giannis on my team over LeBron next year, just because Giannis to me is really, really impressive. His physicality is so impressive, and he's in his prime. He's 27. He's going into his physical prime, and LeBron's not in his physical prime. I think that that LeBron to me probably only has next year and the year after that to be, for me probably he'll probably have 2 or 3 more years to be the best, and then I will probably end up having to say that Giannis is better because he'll be 29 at that time, and LeBron will be 39. So, there's no competing against just like 29 versus 39 in any walk of life. So it's just other than maybe business shit that doesn't have to do with physical. But so that's where I'm at. LeBron's probably still the best till he's close to 40, and then I've got just that, next, Giannis. And then to me, it's those 2 are way better than anybody else right now. I don't think that Joker's okay, but he's not Giannis and he's not LeBron to me. He's that next, step down in talent and in what he can bring to the game. He's bringing you 20-point triple-double, but not quite that 30-point triple-double like Giannis and LeBron. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm going to go with the name that no one said, which I already said, but Luka. I think, comes back after taking down the number 1 seeded Phoenix, having a great playoff performance, having some high-scoring games. I think he comes back out absolute killer.
Yeah, I definitely think Luka's
He's got the mentality.
A good shot for the MVP for sure. I could see him winning.
I mean, he's 6'7". He's got just an incredible bag of tools. He's got all the moves, and he'll put it on your head too.
Yeah,
and they switch out and call him out on defense and just abuse and embarrass him, right?
When he's on D.
Yeah, when he's on D, right? But he does the same thing to other people when he's on O,
right?
You know, so you gotta hide him on D.
Is that a shortcoming?
Yeah, he's not the best defender. I don't think he's like the worst defender either, though. Like Steph gets a knock for his defense, but Steph will strap up if he has to. Like
Luka just not.
Yeah, Steph will strap up, but Dallas was, as far as like pace goes, they were one of the lowest teams in the league this past year. Dallas at home, you bet the under, right? Because they're just going to slow it down or whatever, because they don't want fat ass Luka, running a whole bunch.
Sure.
He's not fat ass, right? But
I mean, he's their only player. You got to find a way to play him 38 minutes. He's got to play 38 minutes.
And he's got to conserve his energy because he's got to put up 40
Jr., their second best player this year. Yeah. So
I think if they can get one more like semi-superstar in there to just relieve some pressure, especially maybe on the defensive end, then, and just give him more time. Spencer Dinwiddie is not a semi-superstar. Like Jalen Brunson, if Jalen Brunson continues to be better, but I think if you bring in another guy and are able to keep Jalen Brunson,
Bradley Beal, maybe he's too expensive. He's a supermax guy, right?
Could Bradley Beal find his way down there? I mean, Kristaps just made his way up from there to DC. I'm interested to see the Wizards with Kristaps and Brad Beal going at it next season with some of the young players developing. Denny Avdia.
7 seed at best.
Who do you got? Who do you guys got winning the finals?
To this finals?
Yeah.
I'm going Warriors in 6. I've been saying Warriors since before.
I think the Warriors are also going to win as well. Matt, do you think Boston has a chance?
I think Boston definitely has a chance. I'm just hoping for good games, right? I mean, the Boston-Miami series, it went 7, but they weren't good games, right? Through 5 games, there was only 8 lead changes. And there's 1 per game because it starts 0-0. So that means only 3 times through the first 5 games did it. You just don't want blowouts. It doesn't really matter to me. I would love it if Klay came back. Klay Thompson is one of my favorite modern day players, just because of his, the way he does things, and you're always rooting, or at least I'm always kind of rooting for an underdog, and coming back from the injury and all that kind of stuff. I would love to see Klay light it up in a couple games and just. I actually watched on YouTube the other day his 37-point quarter.
Yeah.
It was fucking unreal. He was just, it doesn't even matter the angle that he was shooting it from. It was unreal.
Yeah, it was
and there
good.
aren't that many people that have the skill to do that.
No.
You know what I mean? And it was, I'm telling you, it was just,
I don't know that
go back and watch.
I don't know that he has the skill to do that though anymore.
Anymore, but he led
he
the
did
team
at one point do that.
That was probably an outer body experience.
Yeah, I think I'm just excited for Steph Curry to show everybody why he's the 3rd best player of all time. I think he's going to have a crazy series. I think I'm predicting averaging 30 points throughout the series. I hope he does some crazy number of threes, hits 16 threes one game or something like that. I think the all-time record is Klay in the playoffs with 14 threes. So I'd love to see either one of them break that record in this series. But I don't, who knows? Boston's a good defensive team, so that'll be tough to do. But I also love Andrew Wiggins. I've always been a big Andrew Wiggins guy since he came into the league, just in terms of I like how he plays, and I like his swag.
Would you have rather had Wiggins or Love?
Like, what do you mean?
On your team.
Oh yeah, I remember I was saying I wanted Wiggins. Yeah, they traded
for Love.
At that time, you needed Love at that time for sure. But I think now you like how Wiggins is turning out. But Wiggins took a while to get to this point. So
the Warriors got to steal on Wiggins, like being able to pick him up as their
Russell. They traded Russell.
Yeah.
They didn't just pick him up. They traded D'Angelo Russell, and they got a pick back, and the pick ended up being sweet.
Yeah.
I think it was either the Wiseman or the Kuminga pick.
Yeah.
Kuminga's a big part of their squad, and James Wiseman will be in the future. Is he still hurt? James
Wiseman hasn't played a lick all year.
Yeah, Wiseman hasn't been playing, but Kuminga has been playing well.
And then they got the I think Alabama or Arkansas guy, Moody.
Yeah. And then, of course, they've got, what's his name, Looney still plays some minutes.
I think these...
Oh, yeah, Looney's
a loser, but...
if they need to go big, they're going to go Looney.
Yeah, they're funny because they always have just the shittiest centers, and it doesn't matter.
Like to Festus Ezeli in like their previous
yeah,
who's the
or Bezlica.
Australian white guy.
Yeah, Bogut.
Bogut, yeah. I was going to say, what's
he's the
Bogut to?
right.
Hey,
Bogut. You can plug Bogut in right now. He'd win a championship.
I
need 2 minutes, reps out of you per game.
Yeah.
Pau Gasol on the team there.
Yeah, Marc Gasol hit up Mark.
Yeah. I think these are definitely the best two teams. Like, these are the two teams that should have made it, and they did.
I think these are the two healthiest teams. I don't know
that's
about
usually what
best
happens.
Teams, but
no, I think they're the most well-rounded teams.
Yeah.
They have the most weapons, like overall, that are executing. Like,
yeah, I don't like what ifs. So it's just like this is it. This is what happened. You know what I mean? To me, it's like if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are healthy all season, they're in this game. But it's
right,
like
but
they weren't.
A big part.
You didn't make the playoffs. You can't tell me that.
What do you mean? Yeah, I can tell you that.
Make the playoffs.
Anthony Davis missed half the season, and so did LeBron.
They didn't make the playoffs.
Right, but that's because it doesn't matter.
Again, I thought you would maybe say, well, if Chris Paul was healthy down the stretch, maybe Phoenix could have made the playoffs.
If LeBron James makes the playoffs, he's to me, who's beating LeBron James in the Western Conference other than maybe the Warriors? I wasn't afraid of anybody going into the playoffs.
I think that sums it up.
Nobody.
And maybe is a good place to wrap.
What makes the NBA so great?
Best team ever, or season ever.
What makes the NBA so great at this point is that that is the point. Like, it's the healthiest, best team at the end of 82 games, in playoffs of 7-game series. Best. First to 4. Like, who's available?
The Nets should also be in this game if they were healthy as well. So it's like, what I mean? Brooklyn was also a really good team. I mean, the Lakers and Brooklyn were the favorites going into the season.
Everyone's hurting at this point.
So that's my point. If they both remain healthy,
Vegas odds.
If they both remain healthy, they would have, they probably would have gone very far in the playoffs.
What were the Nets missing? Harris?
What were the Nets missing? Didn't they also have James Harden start the season or no?
You're talking James Harden Nets full season.
I'm talking about the beginning of the season.
And Durant.
Right.
They would be the best. Of course.
Right.
But they traded.
No, they were all hurt
halfway through the season
because of the injuries. That's what I'm saying. Like, they could never all get on the court together, and they were just like, well, by the time they
traded Harden because of his
he wanted to leave. I understand that, but I'm saying he wanted to leave because they couldn't get it all together. If they had all been healthy at the beginning of the season, I think it would have played out completely differently.
Yes.
I think they would have all, won a bunch of games. They would have stick together, and I think they would have been in this game.
Performance in the playoffs by James Harden, I don't know if that's true.
But that's what James Harden's your 3 at that point. You know what I mean? If you give James Harden as a 3, he plays.
Look at every other team in the playoffs. They had a better performing third best player.
Than who? James Harden?
Yeah, statistically. He did.
I mean, he averaged 18 points. He didn't play terrible. Like he averaged.
I don't think he played well.
The Lakers, if they had gotten like a 2018 kind of performance from Carmelo, if they had gotten like what are we talking about now?
We're just saying that the healthiest teams got there. I don't know if they're the most talented teams by any means. The Boston Celtics are not a scary team.
The whole thing.
Okay, that's your opinion. I'm just, if they're healthy.
Jamal Murray, is that what we're saying? Like
with Jamal Murray, is that
Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and they got Aaron Gordon and they got the MVP of the league and
one of those players is pretty good, but I don't know if Aaron Gordon and whatever his name is worth mentioning, but they are pretty good. Michael Porter Jr. is pretty good, but
you're putting Harden on the Nets still.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that if they were all healthy at the beginning of the season, that they might have stuck together and been able to make it to the finals. I'm off that
And
argument.
if Kyrie had taken a different,
Right? If the
whole year,
if that bullshit didn't go down, they made him get vaccinated or whatever that whole thing was. I don't even think he ended up getting vaccinated. I think they just made him fucking go through all that shit for no reason. But yeah, that was fucking stupid as shit. But yeah, I think we all got to the bottom of who we think is the best. It's all a matter of what era they played in. Obviously, some people had different advantages depending on what team they were on, who was healthy when, all that shit goes into play. But it's
the debate will go on.
The debate will go on. It's really who's the most consistent year after year, and that's really what it comes down to. So
this is why we play 2K with draft squads.
Yeah, this is so.
We do that as the rosters continue to update.
Yep. So yeah, appreciate you listening to the BenBoh podcast, and we'll check in with you next week. Don't know who the guest is yet, but stay tuned.